it worked really fast this time. We're already live. Look at that.
Woo! It's working.
So far, so good.
Okay, so I'm still working on technology, guys, so bear with me.
None of us are technologically savvy. I don't think. Yeah, no. Like I said, I just get lucky and get it to work somehow or another. So, it's fine.
It's okay.
Okay, so
Make it work.
Let me share to Janelle. Send. Let me share to Mom.
She got it. She got it.
Just in time. We just were able to hit the live button. Yay! And I caught you not saying something awkward. Are you feeling okay?
Or cussing?
Give it a minute. We'll take care of that.
Got that.
We are off to a much better start this week than last week. I was able to share all the links before the show started, and so far my internet seems to be working on par, so I think it's going to be a good show.
Good, because I never know how mine is out at this end.
Right? So, welcome back to Tipsy and Witchy. We have our wonderful friend Christine here, and she is going to be sharing with us bunch of stuff. She is a very talented reader and has a lot of experiences with the paranormal, among a bunch of other things. So without further ado, I'm just going to let her get started. So welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. And how much time do we have? We have a lot to cover.
We might have to have a part 2, 3, and 10.
Yeah.
We do it for an hour. Yeah, so we do it for an hour, but if there's more, we'll definitely have you back on.
Perfect. So, okay, So for me to see the comments, just walk me through here. I hit comments so I can see on the right-hand side if anybody comes in and says anything. Okay, So bear with me. So you guys pick it. Where do you want to go? I mean, I have so much to talk about.
Well, let's just start from the beginning, though. How did you get started in this wonderful world that we experience?
Strictly by accident. I experienced my first paranormal experience when I was probably about 4 or 5 years old. I was sleeping in my bed, and I woke up and I saw a figure, a black shadow, standing at the foot of my bed. And I'm like, oh, I'm scared. I don't like this. So I pulled like a kid does, pulled the cover over my head. And I'm like, go away, go away, go away. And I actually pinched myself to make sure I was awake. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm awake. And I'm thinking, how do I get out of here? I can't get out of here because there was 2 different ways it could have gone. It could have met me at the top of the stairs. It was a Cape Cod. And it could have gone 2 different ways. I'm like, I can't get out of here. So here I am as a 4 or 5-year-old kid trying to figure out my escape, right? So I just went ahead and I pulled my blankets down and I looked and it was still standing there. And in my head, I heard, don't be afraid. I'm here to help you. And I waved at it and it disappeared and I went to sleep, right? So the next morning I get up and I'm sitting at breakfast with my mom. And I told her what I experienced. And she goes, oh, honey, no, you were just dreaming. And I'm like, no. Hi, Susan. I was really, love you, sweetheart. I was really upset and very disappointed that she didn't believe me. Okay. So all of a sudden she grabbed my arm and she goes, where did these bruises come from? And I says, I told you, I pinched myself to make sure I was awake. And the look of fear, concern, and confusion all at once flashed on her face. And she just zipped it and went on her kitchen duties. Didn't say a word. I asked her years later, now mind you, she's 82 now. I asked her, I says, how did you know that what I told you was true? She goes, you know, Chris, in all the years, that story has never changed. If you were lying, she says, that would have changed. She says,
Yeah.
that's how I know it was the truth. And I says, why did you have that look of fear, concern, and confusion? She goes, I was really concerned about who or what was up in that bedroom with my daughter. And it was funny because when my parents were asking my brother and I who wanted the upstairs bedroom, now mind you, this was all that old, thick tongue and groove pine paneling that was up there.
Yeah.
Well, who wants to go up there? And my brother goes, no, I don't want to sleep up there. The panel people will come out at night and eat your face.
Oh,
Whoa.
I'm like, what a thing for a child to say. So was he picking something up? I don't know. Because young kids do.
Yeah.
Because we're not that far from the veil. Okay.
Right.
So, I think that maybe, and then later on, down the road, my brother had admitted, because I think what happened with my brother Dave was, I think for him to deal with certain things he didn't understand, he mentally blocked it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Totally mentally blocked it. And he goes, I never told anybody this. And he says, but in that house, he goes, I was always afraid to go into my bedroom. And I said, well, why? He says, because there was a black figure standing behind my bedroom door.
Oh.
Right. So we both experienced the black figure. I never knew this. I got to get rid of my glare, guys. I never knew this until years down the road. And I'm finding out more and more things of, down the road about the house that we lived in Saginaw. He blocked, excuse me, I'm going to turn my phone off. Years down the road after we had moved out, he was starting to remember things. And because he totally blocked everything out, because that's 14 years in a not very nice house. So I'm kind of wondering, because shortly after I saw that shadow figure, we moved to that house in Saginaw.
Oh,
So was it there to help me deal with the nasty that we had to live with for 14 years? I don't know.
Maybe.
So I'm thinking that probably that was a guardian, and the guardian is still with me to this day. Okay. Because I have run across this guardian again when I was older. Okay. So before I move on, because I talk. Do you guys have any questions or comments so far about what I've stated?
No, I'm excited to learn about the next stage of the story.
Well, I'm telling you, it was a big eye opener. Another eye opener, which I've had several. But when I was a child, when I saw that shadow figure, I'm like, now mind you, I was 4, right? I said, you have a gift. You have an ability. Don't lose it. I put it in my head when I was 4 years old. Don't lose this. Because through education and through formed religion, a lot of that ability, that we're all born with abilities. Okay, we all are. But it's taught out of us through science, mathematics. It's taught out of us through formed religion. I always tell everybody that I'm a recovering Catholic. But actually, you know what? The religion is a very, very good base. You really need that education. You need a base to go by.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm not downplaying any religion whatsoever. Okay, don't ever mistake that.
Right.
So when I was older, I was about 12 years old, and I had gone on a canoe trip with a friend and her family. And hi, Shirley. And it was high water that year, fast running rapids. and we came upon it was it was either the Rifle River or the Asabo. I can't remember which one because it was so many years ago, right? But there was like high clay banks, like 100 feet. It was wet clay, very slippery, and it was almost a 90-degree turn, right? So I was in the canoe with my friend. We tipped, all right? So the current had pinned me between the canoe and a washed out tree on the high banks, okay? So as you know, when there's trees on the side of the river, the flow goes underneath and it washes out the root system, right? So I was between the canoe and the tree, and the current, hey, Janelle made it. I got sucked underneath the tree and I got entangled in the washed out root system. I had roots clawing at me and I was stuck. And I could see the canoe and I could see people walking. And I actually reached out and grabbed somebody's leg and they pulled their leg back. And I could hear them calling my name. And I'm like, hey, I'm right here. I'm right here. I'm right here. And I'm like, oh, great. I'm 12 years old and this is how I'm going to die. This is how I'm going to drown. I'm going to die on a canoe trip. Great. So it was an overcast day. So the sun was behind me. And then in front of me, I saw a ice blue white light. Shafts of this ice blue white light was coming through the root system and engulfed me. And I got a complete sense of calmed right now. And I heard a voice, that same voice that I heard when I was 4. It said, no, it's not your time. You have work to do. It said, relax and the current will pop you out the other side. And I'm like, that's not the sun. The sun's over here. So I'm like, okay. So I relaxed, couldn't feel anything around me, and boop, out the other side I popped.
Thank goodness.
Well, there's more. Wait, there's more. I walked up to my friend Cheryl and I said, hey, I says, I'm right here. What's going on? She goes, that wasn't funny, Chris. I go, what do you mean? I says, I was stuck under the tree. I couldn't get out. And she goes, and there was people up in the woods calling my name and looking for me still. And I said, I was stuck under the tree. She goes, no. She goes, you were gone for 15 minutes. You were hiding in the woods and you were just trying to play a trick on us. That wasn't very nice. 15 minutes? You mean I was gone for 15 minutes? I didn't know what to say. So on the way home, of course, the car was completely quiet, right? Because here's this little 12-year-old pulling a prank. And I looked at Cheryl's mom and I says, exactly how long was I gone for? She goes, you were gone for 15 minutes. That wasn't very funny. And I went, oh, I wasn't even going to go into it. I didn't say a word. It was quiet all the way. I lost a friend that day because her mother never let me have any contact with her from that point forward.
Wow.
From that point forward.
My God.
And so I've seen the other side. I know there's the other side. You know, that was shown to me for a reason. But it says, I have work to do. All right. And I'm like, okay. So it's taken me a lot of experiences and a lot of years to understand exactly what my work is. Okay. And I'm still learning. Okay. I learn something new all the time. And for anyone to say, I'm an expert in blah, 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 or, you know, I know all there is about blah. No, say, have a nice day. And walk away.
See ya.
Right. Exactly. So, you know, those are experiences that I can't explain. I can't ignore. Another experience I had when I was 16 was at my grandparents' house in Detroit. I got to see the Hat Man. You guys know. You guys know who the Hat Man is.
Yep.
Okay. It was I've only experienced this type of fear twice in my life. One with the Hat Man and two experiences at the house in Saginaw. Okay, now I'll go over that. If you want to experience a primal, visceral fear, see the Hat Man. All right. So I was in the basement doing laundry, and I'm like, oh, God, someone's looking at me. Someone's staring at me. You know, like you get the feeling the hair stands up. It feels like someone's pouring, eyeballs to the back of your head. Had that same experience at the house in Saginaw. We'll get to that. So anyways, I'm doing laundry. I'm trying to blow it up, blah, blah, blah. Now, mind you, this is in a really bad part of Detroit, like right off of Trumbull and Woodward. You know, day or night, black or white, you didn't walk the streets. Don't care, right? So all of a sudden, I turn around, and in the corner of the house was built in the 1900s. It's an old 3-story. It's one of the first houses in Detroit. So it's an old basement, okay? If you think of an old, creepy Michigan basement, times 10, right? Mm-hmm. So I turn around, and I see this over 6 foot tall, right? Like 6'3", 6'4", tall, solid black, blacker than black. Does that sound familiar? Blacker than black.
Yep.
He had a fedora. He had the trench coat. Could not see his face. He was standing stock still. Didn't move a muscle. Didn't make a sound. I bolted out of that basement, ran upstairs, told my grandfather and my great uncle that there's somebody in the house. They went through the entire house, couldn't find a soul. 3 months later, my maternal grandmother committed suicide in that house.
Oh my God. He's
a messenger. All right. Me personally, I think he's a messenger. Okay. Mm-hmm. He's not, I don't believe that he causes death. He's warning of death. And
do you think he could be maybe related to a Reaper type?
I'm kind of wondering if he's not a representation of Azrael.
Yeah.
Okay. That would make sense.
So, everybody is really afraid of the angel of death. Okay. And excuse me for a second. I need a tissue. Okay. I had to explain this to my friend Carol because she's like, oh, he's evil. He causes death. No, he does not. Okay. He is your transport to the other side. He does not cause death. Okay. He's there to assist your transformation. Okay.
To help guide you.
Yep. And I says, you need to look that up. And I'm sorry, I did not write the passage down from where it is in the Bible. It is listed. He chose this job. This angel purposely stepped forward and said, I will take this job, knowing that he was going to be feared and hated. He knew exactly what he was doing. He knew his station, and he purposely stepped forward and took it. So, but whenever you deal with an archangel, they're very scary. Very scary. Okay. They are very powerful, and then we don't understand them. They're very scary. Okay. So, of course, they didn't find anybody, yada, yada. But when we had moved into the home in Saginaw, right after I saw the shadow figure in my room, we moved in December. Why would anybody in Michigan move in December? It was horrid. It was 1972. That was my
question. Why? Terrible.
I know. It was just bad timing all the way together. So we moved up to Saginaw from St. Clair Shores. Okay. Mm-hmm. And it was very, very odd because I thought it was my mom being sad, moving from. We had a quaint little town, you guys. It was just adorable. We were 1 block away from Lake St. Clair, boating, fishing. We had at least 20 kids on our street.
Oh, how
Hookups.
awesome.
It was awesome. Mature oaks lining the road. It was just wonderful. So anyways, she cried all the way from St. Clair Shores up to Saginaw, all the way. And I had asked her, I says, I know you were sad about leaving. And I said, but can you kind of explain a little bit more about what you were going through? She says, she said, I had the feeling of impending doom. I go, why would you feel that way? She says, I don't know. Now, mind you, I've had family members on her side, my maternal side, that have had abilities. Okay. My mom also has abilities, but it scares her. She doesn't deal with them. She shuts them down. So I think she was sensing, right, what we were heading towards.
Mm-hmm.
So 1972, right? I was 6. Oh, I just dated myself, didn't I? Damn it. But so it was an innocuous looking home. It was a brick ranch, whoop-de-doop-de. It wasn't like the Addams family home or what, you know what I mean? It was built in 1962, whatever. We were only the second family in there, and the first family didn't live there long. I wonder why. Okay. So as soon as we crossed that threshold, I looked at my mom and I says, I do not like this house. And she goes, oh, it's just new. You'll get used to it. Never did.
Nope.
As soon as we walked in there, you could feel eyes on you. Like how a cat is getting ready to pounce on its prey.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I was the prey in that house. It was horrid. That feeling never went away in the 14 years we lived there.
Oh, my Lord.
Never. People go, oh, that would be cool to live in a haunted house. Try it. You have no privacy. You don't know what's going to happen, but you know it's coming. You don't know when, where, or how bad it's going to be. So you're constantly living in a state of fight or flight. And especially, it went after me, especially, because I was the youngest and I had abilities.
Yes.
So it targeted me.
Now, did your folks ever see them?
My dad never spoke about the house. Whenever we talked about it in front of him, he clammed up. He clammed right up. My mom didn't talk about anything until years after, because she did not want to add fear to the family. She didn't want to add to it. Yeah, Janelle, I wouldn't mind living with Casper the Friendly Ghost, but this was not at all. At all. I mean, I know some ghosts that are very helpful. They hold the door open for you. You know what I mean? That's cool. But this one was not nice. Now, Mom didn't talk about anything, like I said, till years later. And she said something that made the hair stand up on the back of my neck. She said one night when we first moved in, she goes, she felt like something was trying to get inside of her.
Oh,
She felt like something was trying to possess her. So she said, no, you're not allowed. And she said the Hail Mary all the way through till dawn. Now keep that in mind. This also applies to me at a certain point. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So she knew that something was trying to take her over. She knew that. And she said no. And she said the Hail Mary and the Our Father, and she was good, but she couldn't say anything, because why would you want to instill fear into your kids?
Right.
You can't. Okay. Now, my dad did have an experience that I witnessed, so I can speak directly about this circumstance because I witnessed it. Okay. Now, for some odd reason, the basement was horrible, absolutely horrible. I mean, the light at the bottom of the stairs would always come undone, so it was turned off all the time.
Nice.
And you always felt like when you were coming up the stairs, something's like right there, right?
Mhm.
So Dad went to go turn the furnace on, and it wasn't working. And he's like, "Oh, blah, 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 blah," run downstairs, take a look at the furnace. So I'm standing on the steps, and for some reason, I did not want to go any further down than halfway. So I stopped. Oh, so cute, love guys. But I didn't want to go any further than halfway down. And I could see Dad taking the panel off of the side of the furnace. And mind you, my dad at that time had full facial hair, longer hair, 6'4", 6'5", big dude, right? Anyways, all of a sudden he stepped back, and I heard this growl coming from the furnace, and this ball of flame came out and it totally engulfed him.
Yikes.
I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm going to see the death of my dad. And all of a sudden the flames went right back in to the furnace, went away. And he's yelling for my brother, Dave, get me the fire extinguisher. And he comes running past me. Not one hair on him was singed. Nothing.
Wow.
Nothing. And we called the furnace company in to take a look at the furnace. Nothing wrong. Nothing wrong. And that was right before we were getting ready to sell it. And we sold the house. After we sold the house, the furnace died. The sump pump died. The water heater died. The kitchen sink sprung a leak and damaged the floor. The shower sprung a leak and damaged the bathroom. Everything just blew up. And they had the house inspected before they bought it, and it passed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But every single thing. But we didn't tell the family anything about the house because, come on, you guys, who's going to believe you? They're going to look at you have three heads,
That's
right?
True. Right.
So Mom happened to work with this gal. And so she'd come in and she'd go, oh my gosh, Lois, you wouldn't believe this. She's like, I heard footsteps in the kitchen, very active area of the house. And I thought somebody was in the house, so I grabbed a knife.
Oh,
and Mom's like, oh, really? That's interesting, Terry. Huh. What do you want to get for lunch?
Like old news.
Oh, God.
No, we weren't going to go there, but they didn't stay there long. They stayed there for a year, gone.
Yeah.
And that house has been foreclosed on and sold more times than I can tell you. And when I drive by that house, when I see that there's kids there, it makes me sick. It really makes me sick because I know it's going to go after them because it's still there. Because I went up on the front porch just out of a whim one day because it was in foreclosure.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked through the front door window and I saw a black shadow darting from the dining room down the hallway. And I'm like, oh, you SOB, you're still here.
Yeah, you're
So
still there.
So I went home and I'm like, God, my arm burns. What the hell's going on? So, and on my page, the picture's actually there. I pulled my sleeve up and I had nothing but hives and a couple of red marks. And I'm like, The very next day, 3 bloody lines on my arm. Because when I stood on that front porch, it was out of a whim, right? I didn't have anything blessed on me. I didn't have protection. And it knew that I could see it, and it knew it can't bully me anymore. That was a warning saying, don't come back here. But yeah, it was 3 scabbed over scratches.
Oh,
insane.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, you. So I'll get back to saying our Father and the prayers.
Mm-hmm.
When I was younger, again, around the same time, about 13, 12, 13, I was staying at a friend's house. And she goes, hey, she says, you want to play a game? Sure. So she pulls out of her closet a Ouija board. I'm
The
like,
staple of all childhood sleepovers.
And I'm just like, no, Joanne, I'm really not comfortable with playing that. And she's, oh no, it's fine. It's just a game. Well, we did not know how to properly, as kids, how to properly use the Ouija board, right? So she's asking it, blah, 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 blah. Wasn't doing anything. So she's, whatever. I'm done with this game. And she just put it in her closet. She didn't close it. She didn't say goodbye. She didn't say nothing of that sort, right? So we're getting ready for bed, and she turns her back to me. And she takes off her shirt to put on her nightshirt. I saw her back, clear as day. No problem, right? She lays down, and I was on the floor with my sleeping bag, and I went to sleep. Well, I tried to. And I heard some growling coming from her closet. Now, mind you, her closet only had a curtain, and it was open, and the board was on the bottom, right? So I look over, and I go, what the hell? I saw glowing eyes from the bottom of the closet. And I'm like, oh, is that her cat? No, she put her cat out for the night. There's no cat in this room. So I said the Hail Mary and the Our Father until dawn. I didn't sleep a wink that night. So I turned over and I looked at Joanne, and she hadn't moved. Not from where she lay, she had not moved. And so she got up that morning, and she goes, hey, Chris, she goes, do me a favor. She goes, look at my back. My back really hurts. I'm like, okay. So she pulled up her shirt, and I'm not kidding you guys, from the base of her neck to the small of her back, there was 3 bloody scratches from the top clear down to the bottom. And after that, her life and her family's life went to hell. She got involved in drugs, alcohol, bad people, attempted suicide several times. Her dad was attacked by her brother while he was on his deathbed because you owe me money, old man. They had to call the cops on him. And when I went back in there, now mind you, her place was not very far from me. So her house for me was a sanctuary because I could get away from the BS that I was dealing with down the road, right? I walked back in there after all that went down, and the whole house changed. It was thick. It was heavy. It was uncomfortable. I never went back there again. On that same token, she stayed at my house one night. We were camping in the backyard. Now, if you watch My Paranormal Nightmare, right? Season 1, episode 8, called Trapped, that's me and my brother, first up. Okay? The things they have on there, you guys, are absolutely true. The only thing that they had put together was the scene where the hog ran by and the figure crawling across the yard, that they put those two together for time constraints. Okay. Absolutely true. So we were in the tent, and remember that scene from Jurassic Park when the chick sees the shadow of the she's got the jello and she's going like this.
Yes.
So Joanne and I were in the tent, talking horses and the boys, blah, 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 school. And she stopped, and she had that same look. She's like, and I'm like, what? And I had turned around, and I saw claws, a hand going down the side of the tent. You could see the claws, and you could hear the tent nylon. Boom, gone in the house. Jumped on the couch with Mom, and she goes, "Aren't you guys staying out there?" I go, nope. And she goes, "Oh, it's just Dave trying to scare you." And Dave was with his friends, and he walked into the living room. And he goes, "What's up?" And I go, "That wasn't very funny." And he goes, "What are you talking about?" And he goes, "You trying to scare us?" And he goes, "I just got home." Now, my brother, mind you, if he got you on a good joke, he go, "Ah, got you." He had no freaking clue. None. So for him to go ahead and be able to recall some things after the fact, it's slowly coming out, like the shadow figure coming over the roof line, looking in his bedroom window. I go, "Yeah, that was the same one that was straddling my bedroom when I came home from roller skating."
Oof.
So having those experiences, and the other, well, and I have to tell you, in the show, they kind of took license on this one. I was watching TV with my parents, and it was time for me to go to bed. So I was walking down the hallway. My bedroom was on the back left. And earlier in that day, my cousin and I were playing hide and seek. So I hid behind that bathroom door, and she couldn't find me. She was going up and down the hallway, right? And the last time she went up and down the hallway, she was in my room for a very long time. And I'm like, what is she doing in my room? And mind you, my room was a very active place also. So she finally came out, and she stopped, and I could see her through the crack of the door. She had this look of fear and panic on her face. And I'm like, oh, she just can't find me, right? So I stuck my fingers through the door in the door jamb, and I did this so she could find me. Ah, ha, 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 And she went to her mom and stayed right by her mom's side for the rest of the day. I said, "Don't you want to play any more hide and seek?" She said, "No, nope." And I said, "Why were you in my room for that long?" "I wasn't in there that long." I said, "What were you doing?" "Nothing. Wasn't doing anything." Like, okay. So that night I was getting ready to go to bed. So I was walking down the hallway, and all of a sudden I felt like I was walking through quicksand, like I was wearing a waterlogged wool blanket, very heavy. All the hair back of my neck, everything stood up. And I stopped right there at the bathroom door, and I looked, and a child's hand had come through the door like I had done earlier, but it had black under its fingernails, like it was digging in dirt, and it had sores and hanging skin. And it did this. And when you want to talk about frozen in fear, you can be frozen in fear. My feet could not move. And I was screaming at the top of my lungs. And as soon as I started screaming, it went. And my parents come running down the hallway. My brother comes out of the bedroom, like, what the hell's going on? I couldn't talk. I could not talk. And finally, once I got done being able to get out what happened, Mom's like, "Oh, well, you're just extra tired." Okay. Again, you don't want to instill fear in the kids, right? I'm like, fine. So I went to bed. So, that was I don't know what was scarier, you guys. Seeing the hand do this number, or coming to the realization that, oh my God, this thing can see us, it can hear us, and it can interact with us. What's scarier? Right?
Not much.
Right. And so with that sort of background, that allows me to be a rock solid investigator. Because if I see something go, I'm like, okay, seen it, been there, done it, let's debunk it. Because the cat dish on the countertop did this. It levitated, came over, tipped. And then I had a boyfriend at the time see the oven door open, so it helped us to put the oven, the food in the oven. He's, I didn't touch it. I said, I know you didn't. Someone's just trying to help us with dinner, But, Yeah, so it's experiences like that when I go into an investigation, it really helps me, not say, "Dude, run," you know. And then I can also help people that are going through similar situations that they don't know how to deal with, to know that they're not alone. Because back in the day, who would we reach out to about stuff like this, you guys?
Next to nobody.
No one.
No.
You didn't dare tell anybody what was going on because they would fit you for a white jacket that ties
Yeah,
in the
you'd
back.
be in the crazy loan.
Yep.
Thank you. Yep. And it's very you feel very, very helpless. You feel very, very isolated. And so coupled with that, and then also being empathic helps me feel what the people are going through and what the other side's going through. So the deceased person. Now, mind you, I think this thing that was in the house in Saginaw was never a living person. Okay. I don't. Because living people, I don't think, leave random puddles of water.
Interesting.
Because in the kitchen, that's poltergeist.
Yep.
You look up poltergeist. Okay. So you've got and the puddles were not from the dog. They were not like feet. They were actual nothing from the ceiling, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there were things that happened in that house that were you just don't explain. And by the way, I'm going to tell you right now, yes, orbs do exist. I'm going to tell you why. Okay. Ma was at the kitchen sink looking out the window. And from the landing of the basement where the garage goes to the door goes to the garage, that door never stayed closed. It always unlocked, always opened, didn't matter. So she's standing there and something, an orange, yellow, fiery ball comes over her shoulder, hovers in front of her face, and shoots out the window. She saw it with her own eyes. That you cannot deny. So when somebody goes,
You can't deny that.
orbs aren't real. Yes. Right, Donna?
Unless they're dust balls, they're real.
Well, when it's on camera or when it's on like your photos or a camera, that's totally different. But when you see it with your own eyes,
Absolutely.
I was walking through a cemetery up at Port Austin. Oh, when was that? That was several years ago, probably 2001, I think. I was walking through a cemetery with a friend of mine. This is good. So through the headstones, I could see it was a grapefruit-sized orb that I could see. And it was orange and yellow and mixing and rolling and like mist rolling. And it was hovering in between. It was zigzagging between the headstones. It didn't raise. It didn't fall. It was weaving through. And I said, "Hey," to my friend, "do you see that? Where'd you go?" He goes, "No," as he's running. He is running out of that cemetery. "I didn't see a thing." I'm like, he was gone like a fart in a hurricane.
Oh, Jesus.
And that night, half of the town burnt down. Half of that town burnt down.
Damn.
And I'm like, "Sure, you didn't see anything." Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing but assholes and elbows running.
Just running like a son of a bitch down the road.
Oh my God, that was so. He left me alone in the middle of a cemetery, and I'm like, "Some gentleman you are, Ichabod Crane."
Rude.
God.
So
No, I don't see anything. If I'm not here and can't see it, then it's not there.
Exactly. It doesn't exist. Oh my God, it's just
Stop,
funny.
stop.
Some of the stuff that we deal with, but I'm Gavin. You guys got any questions or you want to throw anything out there?
Did you ever try to do any back history on that place in Saginaw?
I did, and I'm running into a roadblock. I really can't find a whole lot. The interesting thing, and I wish I knew this sooner. I could talk to the realtor. When mom and dad were going through that house, when they were looking at it initially, the realtor goes, "Oh, no, you don't want this house. I got a house around the corner on Shattuck you might want to look at." And mom's like, "Why?" She goes, "You don't want this house. This house is dirty. This house is dirty." And
Dirty.
Well, she knew something.
Yeah.
she left.
Yeah.
She would not stay in the house. They had to walk through the house by themselves. She wouldn't stay in there. What realtor tells you a house is dirty that she's trying to sell you?
One that knows that they need to tell you more than that.
Someone that's
Right.
experienced something.
See, and in Michigan, they don't have to tell you someone died in it or if there's a ghost in it.
Nope.
All they got to tell you is there's something wrong with the house.
Mm-hmm. So I can't find any kind of death records, but I kind of wonder if maybe it's not with the area in general, because the neighbor's house directly next door and then across had a creepy feel too. And I was out, mom and dad were gone, Dave was gone with friends. And I was sitting in the kitchen playing solitaire. It was a nice summer night. I had the patio door open, blah, blah, blah. And I hear something rustling in the backyard. And I'm thinking, well, is that a cat or is that a raccoon? What's going on? So I got a flashlight and I went out to the backyard. And from my left to my right, I heard thumping, like feet hitting the ground, and I could feel the ground actually vibrating from the feet hitting the ground. And I went ahead and, oh, Janelle, I do now. I'll tell you in a second. This black, okay, I'm going to have to say a black hog-sized entity, low to the ground, very, very big. Now, mind you, I'm almost 6 foot, right, Donna? So
Yeah. Yes.
and back then I was damn near, I was close to it. I was probably like 5'8", 5'9". The back of this came to my knee. Okay. And all my height's in my knee. So that's 27 inches. Right. So it was that tall and it was massive. I couldn't see through it. And as it ran past, I could hear it. I could hear it snarling and growling, and you could hear it gnashing its teeth and grinding its teeth. And it was just, that was another visceral primal fear. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the thing that was very, very alarming was when it passed by me, I could feel it emanating heat. I felt heat on my face. It was that strong. And I ran into the house, locked the house up. And yes, as in the show, I grabbed a knife and I locked myself in the bedroom till my brother got home. And he didn't believe me. He said, it's probably some rabid woodchuck. Ha, 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 ha. And he says, he goes, I really wished I would have believed you. He says, I really wished I would have listened to you. He says, I'm sorry. And I says, but Dave, we were kids. How are you going to deal with that?
Right.
But Janelle asked a question about how do I protect myself when I go on investigations or when I feel the need, because that's a gut instinct that you feel. I do grounding. I'll look up 2 things. All right. Grounding and shielding. All right. So those are 2 things that you need to completely understand, because you have to have yourself emotionally and spiritually grounded so you're not a target. Because if you go into an investigation, if you're fearful or cocky, you're a mark. You are a mark. You are. And yes, they can follow you home, kids.
Oh, yeah. They can.
Yes, they certainly can.
Because I had a nasty follow me home from a job site, from a job one time. And I'll do that real quick. But I want to get back to Janelle. Janelle, and the other thing is when I go on investigations, there are certain crystals. And yes, I do believe in crystals. I did a lot of research on it. It's a big rabbit hole. Black crystals are great. Okay. snowflake obsidian, Apache tears. You've got your black tourmaline. Great. Okay, so those really do help. Hematite. Okay, research hematite, kids, because it can also protect your home. Bury hematite in 4 corners of your house outside. Okay, it'll protect your house. Also salt. A lot of times I have people will put salt in their shoes so nothing can follow them home. Okay, so, but you cannot go in with any kind of fear. Expect the unexpected. Okay, be open-minded, but be careful. Excuse me, don't be stupid, don't provoke. Okay, you're asking for trouble. All right. So do your research on your crystals. I go in investigations, I wear something blessed. I don't care if it's a blessed handkerchief. Don't care. Yeah, hematite's great. I love hematite. But I was working as a dialysis tech for a little bit. And this place was very, very bad. It had a very bad history to it. It used to be a restaurant here in Saginaw, and it was Treasure Island, and it had been turned into a dialysis center. Well, the original owner of the restaurant, he was going through a divorce. He lost his beloved restaurant in a divorce, and he was very upset. So upset that he went into his office and blew his brains out. Okay. So there's that stain that remained at this job. And they said, this place is haunted. I said, yeah, I know it is. It's in that back office. Kind of looked at me and I said, yeah, I can see it. And so they said that at one point they smelled rotting flesh. Okay. They couldn't find where it was coming from. Rotting flesh is never a good sign. Okay. So I think what had happened was it's in an area of Old Town Saginaw, a lot of old history in the area, a lot of trauma in the area, a lot of Native American in the area. Okay, so I think that there's an entity that's been created in that area from all the bad things. Okay, so I think maybe it had influenced this gentleman to take his own life because it feeds off of negativity, right, and fear. So I come home and the dogs keep looking. They're tracking something. They see something. I'm like, oh, great. I didn't think I was going to have to wear something blessed to my job. And so I'm in the bathroom and the towel on a towel rack straightens itself out. My loofah from the back of the shower gets thrown like a football to the front. I'm like, all right, okay, I know you're here. Blah, blah, blah. So I get my digital recorder out like, the investigator I am. Right. And I said, hey, I says, do me a favor. I says, whistle for the dogs. That's if you can whistle. Ha, ha, ha. Play the recorder back. And he goes, I'll not whistle. I'll hurt you.
Oh, not nice.
I go, no, you won't, SOB. You don't know who you're dealing with. So thank God for Bob, because he's level-headed. He's good with all this. He's witnessed it. He's great. And I said, we got something in the house. I said, I'll get rid of it tomorrow. So he goes up to bed. I'm downstairs watching TV, right? And I hear, Chris? And I go, what did it do? It growled at me.
Oh.
And I said, what did you say to it? I told it to shut the F up. I'm trying to sleep.
That'd be me.
I go, right? I says, that's my Bob. I says, okay, honey, I'll get rid of it tomorrow.
I think we've all had those moments with the paranormal. Like, you know what, bitch? Not right now. I'm not dealing with you today. Just go away.
I'm done. I'm ready for bed.
Yeah,
exactly. It's like off with you. So
not tonight.
I cleansed and sealed the house, and that's the other thing people don't know. They can burn sage until the cows come home, but if you don't seal the house shut, they just wait for the smoke to go away and they come back in. So cleansed and sealed the house, kicked it out. I told Bob, I said, if you hear a knock outside, don't open the door. He says, why? I said, because he's trying to get back in. It's trying to get back
Yes.
in. For 2 weeks. 3 knocks on the door, front door, 3 knocks on the side of the house, 3 knocks on the garage, 3 knocks on the garage door. And I go, no, you're not getting back in here. Hike it out of here. Forget it. So it took 2 weeks of him, or it, and the dog's going crazy. And I'm like, no. So I was at work, and Bob's like, yep. There was 3 knocks at the door. And I says, you didn't open the door, did you? He goes, no. He goes, I just looked and there was nothing there. And I said, what to say? He goes, get the F out of here. Oh, Bob. Great. Oh my God. Too funny. But you know, he I tell you, he's really put up with a lot. He really has.
Love. They put up with a lot if they love you.
Oh my gosh, nothing rocks him. So, but yeah, we're gonna bring him along on some investigations. We're gonna go to Louisville, Kentucky, and go to the asylum.
Awesome.
So maybe he'll see his first creeper. You know, they like creep on the ceiling.
Are we talking about Waverly?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Yeah. We went to Waverly in 2012 and we saw Big Black and the Creeper. So it was a very interesting time.
Yeah, and I think isn't the Creeper? I'm seeing the Creeper on the ceiling over the nurses' station. Now I've not ever been there. On the second floor.
I think he was seen on the second floor, but primarily like the third and the fourth. But he's everywhere, so it just kind of, and it's not really a distinguishable shape. It's just kind of like this massive blob that just kind of creeps. So I mean, when we saw it, it was on the walls, it went on the ceiling, and then it went to the floor. And we're like, no, you can stay over there. Thanks, man.
Yeah, I had a creeper come at me when I was cleansing a house, investigating a house in Bay City. And was crawling across the floor at my feet. And I stood up and I put my foot in the middle of it. And I says, don't you try those parlor tricks with me. I don't play. Mm-hmm. And we had to kick it out of the house because it kicked the damn dog down the stairs.
Oh, hell no.
Oh, no.
Animals, it's done. You're going back to hell where you belong.
That's right.
Well, poor Dixie, she was a little yippy dog. And I go, look, I don't like yippy dogs either, but it gives you no excuse to kick her because she went horizontally right off mid-step. Hit the fridge, hit the ground, off running. I says, you got your walking papers, you're out. Yep. And so when I cleansed, when I cleansed the house, I told the owners, I said, you have to participate because you're taking ownership, right? And I said, whatever you see in here, don't stop. Don't stop what you're doing. So we had the last window open. You can hear him rah, 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 just grumbling all the way out the window. I don't care. You're done. You're evicted.
That's right.
So the next night, her daughter goes, Mom, he's hanging outside my window. And she goes, you didn't open it, did you? She goes, no. She's on the second story.
Jesus.
Right? He's floating outside the bedroom going,
hello.
Let me in.
Did you miss me? No.
Somebody's frozen.
Uh-oh.
Oh, did the creep
out?
Oh, there she is.
You were frozen for a second.
Well, okay. That's the other thing is I'm a slider. I don't want to go into it. We're kind of low on time. When they were doing the movie out here for My Paranormal Nightmare, he goes, I don't know why my camera stopped working. I says, it's me. Let me walk away. It'll be fine. Because when my energy goes up so high, I can affect electronics. Right? Oh, yeah. I know. So since I walked out, he goes, and I came back in. I said, you good? He goes, yep, we're good. Yeah. So, you know, light bulbs, computers, phones, name it.
Always.
The older I get, I notice that I tend to turn off lights.
Mine's lights. Mine is lights. I've blown up light bulbs and broners because I picked up on too much energy around me and it just got real bright over top of me and
yep. Like, son of a bitch, not another one.
Yes. Bob was like, I'm gonna have to go to Sam's Club and buy bulk light bulbs.
Yeah, you might want to.
Oh, he's like, okay.
We're going to have you back really soon.
Yeah, no kidding. I don't
I
even
don't
think
think we put a dent in your life.
No.
But
wait, there's more.
But you're going to be in Oxford, correct?
No, but actually, Bob and I are going to come down when you guys close. So let's go out for dinner.
Oh, okay. That sounds kind of cool.
Yep. Because you know how when we're working, we never get a chance to really visit or talk.
We don't.
We don't. So I just told Bob, I said, I would rather go down there when everybody closes and get everyone together and go out for dinner and actually be able to talk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we'll pop on down and we'll find, if you know any good restaurants around the area, let me know, because I'm not familiar with Oxford.
I'm not either. So maybe Candace will tell us.
We'll Google it.
That'll work. Or just tell her to pick the place with all of her. No.
Yeah, but
The Legion's supposed to have, the Legion's supposed to have good food. I don't know if it's true or not, but
oh, hey, I'm game for anything. I'm not picky.
Well, if they got food, we can just eat right there.
Yeah, no kidding. But yeah, I mean, I know like I said, to touch on everything in 1 hour ain't happening.
Nope.
It's just
not
gonna happen.
Well, so damn, that just means we gotta bring it back.
You like me. You really, really like me. That's
we love your ass.
But yeah, because there's other things that we can touch on in terms of abilities and how to handle abilities, and but it's not a lot of people know all the stuff that. Bye, Sue, love you. The thing is that not a whole lot of people know exactly everything that I do.
Right.
Master Reiki. I'm a life coach. I'm a medical intuitive, reflexologist, black belt in jiu-jitsu. So there's
you can go in so many different directions. We'll just have to schedule her at least 3 times a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go on for 5 years. When we're good with it.
Yeah. We're gooder. Thanks for stopping in, Janelle. We'll see you soon, honey. Love you.
And thanks
for having me on, guys. It was a lot of fun, and I didn't give you guys much of a chance to breathe, did I?
No, that's okay. We like nights like that.
Yeah. We like our guests to do the talking when they can.
Yeah,
but
we know about you, not us.
So thank you so much for joining us. We're definitely going to have you back. We will post it on our Facebook when we have Chris back with us so that we can do part 2. But in the meantime, I hope everybody enjoys the rest of their week. Stay warm. It's cold as shit outside again. Happy spring.
It is totally.
See you later, guys.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye.